So to start this video out, usually I have fun doing these. This one is kind of disturbing to me. Been on a little bit of a roller coaster from sadness to anger to sadness to anger and sadness at the same time to anger. Anyway, the other day, as many of you know that have followed my ramblings and stories, I frequent cemeteries quite a bit. Me and my friend Sam always end up going to the cemetery right down the road from where we live here. And the other day she came in and was all upset and freaking out and was like, "Look at this," and showed me her phone, and there was pictures of a monument headstone like thing, pretty good size thing down at the cemetery that we go to, the Pinehurst and San Sebastian Cemetery. Cemeteries, I should say. It's two of them. Anyway, this monument had fallen over. So we were thinking. She was like, "I looked at it. First I thought maybe it got hit by lightning. Maybe this, maybe that, maybe, you know." So, upon further inspection, we went back down there the next morning. And we're going to see if we could pick it up or move it, get it back in its proper position. And it's at a area that we always go to there. And we tried to move this thing, and it weighs like hundreds of pounds. Couldn't even budge it. So I was thinking, I asked her, I was like, "Did you see any others?" And she was like, "Not really." And then we started looking around, and we found another one that had fallen over. And then we found another one, and another one, and another two, and another two. Ends up being at least 10, 12 of them all together. A couple of them are broken off. A couple of them are just pushed over. So what happened is I'll refrain from saying what I want to call them. Some people came in and basically vandalized this historic old cemetery. Granted, it's kind of a forgotten cemetery. It's like abandoned, but a lot of history in there. And somebody came in and vandalized it, intentionally kicked over all these headstones and monuments. So enough rambling. I'll show you the first part of what we found. This video is going to be in 3 stages, 3 levels of, again, I won't say it, but 3 levels of disgusting, to say it nicely. This is the first level, the first story. All right, so here's the first monument that Sam found the first day she went down there. And then, like I said before, came home, told me about it, then we both went back. And this is what we found after we started looking around. Obviously, someone has come into the cemetery and vandalized it flat out. This didn't happen by mistake. This was done by some asinine POS, and it's pretty upsetting to me. We go to the cemetery. We're there usually once a week, once every couple of weeks, sometimes more, sometimes less, but we always try to leave this place a little cleaner than when we show up. And to have somebody come in and do this is just uncalled for. And I'm going to use every effort I can to find out who did it. So we've got a couple plans in action, but we tried to move these, and they are extremely heavy. So we're going to need some help getting these lifted back up. I called the local news station yesterday, and that was pretty much a waste of time. They just really didn't care. The guy I talked to on the phone, extremely rude. He was like, "Yeah, well, we'll call the station. We'll call the police department there and find out." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, whatever. Thanks for wasting my time." So let's move on to the next disturbing level of stories. On to the next level. A teenage boy was arrested after deputies said he vandalized the St. Augustine Cemetery. Urns were overturned, headstones were broken, and ashes were moved around the Craig Memorial Park Mausoleum on Monday evening. It was late at night when a woman was walking along the sidewalk and heard a banging noise coming from the mausoleum inside the cemetery on Old Moultrie Road. According to the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office, she verbally confronted a suspicious person before he cursed at her and ran off in the woods. When deputies arrived to investigate, they found the unthinkable. Cemetery caretakers said covers were broken and urns inside containing ashes were removed and placed at various locations on the ground. According to the St. Augustine Sheriff's Office, at least 3 urns were removed and 7 locations where urns were stored were damaged. Investigators said a vase and 2 headstones were also damaged. The unidentified woman who confronted the person suspected of vandalizing the mausoleum was able to give deputies a description of him. Soon after, the deputies said they located this person matching the description, who was identified as Riley Kalin, at a location near the cemetery. Kalin, 17, faces charges of maliciously disturbing the contents of a grave and criminal mischief. He also faces charges of probation violation. So, there's level 2. You got somebody coming in the cemetery, knocking over headstones. Now you got some whacked out dude breaking in a mausoleum and pulling out people's ashes. So let's go on to the third and most disturbing story.
And tonight at 6, let's get to our top story about a family graveyard vandalized, even defiled. There are no words to describe what you're about to hear and see. Thank you for joining us. I'm Anthony Austin.
And I'm Jeannie Blaylock. Headstones and crosses crumbled. On your sides, Jocelyn Howard is live in Middleburg tonight to tell us what was done to the body of one little girl who was buried there. Jocelyn?
Well, it all started with CJ Jocelyn. He was coming through here, going to visit his grandmother who recently passed away, and that's when this caught his eye. This gravestone completely crumbled, and then he looked at his feet, and you won't guess what he saw.
It was just like a little doll, like a little chocolate doll. And then I looked over inside of her grave, and it's been busted open, and they just left her body.
The body of baby Michaela, Jocelyn's niece, who was a stillborn in 2007.
What respect of a person does anything like this and then sleeps well at night? You can't.
Gravestone after gravestone smashed or tipped over, but no valuables were taken except the piece that graced this cemetery.
The motive is pure stupidity, if you ask me.
Any disturbance of grave is a serious crime in the state of Florida, so the person or persons responsible could be potentially facing serious charges.
The family says objects can be replaced, but nothing will cure the grief that this has brought them.
It's bringing extra pain on top of the pain that was already established years ago when these things happened. So don't reinvent pain that's already been laid dormant.
So I really don't even have any words for that other than what the hell kind of person would do something like any of this. But you know, you see the 3 levels there: little graveyard vandalism, then little mausoleum pulling some ashes out, and the 3rd level here is actually pulling a body out of a grave of a little girl. I don't understand the world we live in anymore. I just really don't.